to call this meeting to order for the Midtown Redevelopment Board for September 9th, 2025. For the record, I am not the esteemed Reverend Dr. Eddie Lake. I'm just Lynn Thompson, the vice chairman, and I slid over one chair to cover him as he has been officially excused. And I did read today, I think today is his birthday.
Yes.
So, happy birthday in your absence. Preacher, I know you gonna have a nice time just doing nothing. But can we have a roll call this morning?
Yes, sir. So Joanne Shepherd, present. Tangela Hardy, still not here, but we're waiting to see if she comes in a couple minutes. Renee Richardson. Here. Present. Kathy Washington.
Present.
Davita Boner.
Present.
Lynn Thompson.
I'm present.
Okay, we don't have a quorum, but we can proceed.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We'd like to ask everyone to stand right now, and after the invocation, which will be delivered by Davita Bonner, we will stand for the remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Lord, thank you for allowing us to be here this evening. Lord, we appreciate all that you do for us, and we know through your will everything is possible, and we pray that you will allow us to have a conductive meeting, Lord, and to see fit to continue to serve you and to serve our community. In your name, amen. Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 5, approval of agenda. Board members, have you had an opportunity to review the agenda?
Mr. Vice Chair, I apologize.
We can't.
We can't take any official action.
That's right, we cannot.
We can continue with the agenda as it is written without a formal approval or vote. We'd have to pass over the approval of the minutes, but we can proceed.
We can proceed with staff reports?
Yes, we may proceed with staff reports.
Okay. I see him leaning in the back. Come on up, Captain Condi. And as you come up, I just want to say thank you for what you have done in the intersection of Adams Street and MMB. Thank you.
I appreciate it. You're very welcome. Always nice to hear. I'll give credit to all of my patrol resources. This is the District 1 Police Report. Staff. For District 1, between August 12th and September the 8th, we handled 2,578 calls for service. 595 police reports were written. We effected 65 felony arrests, 76 misdemeanor arrests, conducted 239 traffic stops, and issued 296 citations. As far as for specific Group A offenses, for persons crimes, we had 10 aggravated assaults, of which 5 were cleared with arrests. We have 3 complaint affidavits for arrests, 2 remain ongoing investigations. Out of these 10 aggravated assaults, 8 involved firearms and the remaining 2 involved knives. We had 2 aggravated domestic assaults, both of which were cleared with an arrest, where 1 firearm was involved. We had domestic violence simple assault. We had 11 investigations, 3 of which were cleared with arrest and 8 have complaint affidavits. We had 10 reported sex offenses, 1 of which was cleared by arrest, and the remaining 9 remain ongoing investigations. We had 1 weapons law violation, which remains an ongoing investigation. We had 2 family nonviolent offenses. 1 was cleared by arrest, 1 has an affidavit. For persons crimes, we had 5 reported robberies, 4 of which were cleared by arrest. Out of the 5, 3 of these investigations involved firearms. The last case that was unresolved is ongoing. Unfortunately, we had uncooperative victims. We had 7 reported burglaries, of which 2 of them were cleared with arrest. 1 has a complaint affidavit for an arrest, and the remaining 4 are ongoing investigations. We had 14 reported car breaks. Out of these 14 reported car breaks, 13 of them were unlocked, resulting in 1 firearm being stolen. Out of these 14, 2 of which were cleared with arrest, and the remaining 12 are ongoing investigations. We had 5 reported motor vehicle thefts, but truly there were only 3, as 2 of them were attempts. 2 of these investigations were recovered with arrest, and they were both unlocked with keys accessible. One of these investigations out of the 5 is suspicious in nature, so pending additional investigation, there may be a header change to reclassify it. We had 1 commercial theft, and we had 2 prowler investigations, both of which were cleared with arrest. For our extra patrols, from August 12th until September the 8th, units conducted 937 documented extra patrols, and our surveillance trailer was set up at Joe Harris Park, and today I actually moved it up to Clyde Morris Landings, which I realize is out of Midtown, but just one of our ongoing projects. For special events, since our last meeting, we had the August races, and other than some traffic congestion, we honestly didn't have any significant issues, which is very nice.
That's great.
Right now, we have 3 upcoming special events: Trucktoberfest, Biketoberfest, and then BCU Homecoming. For Trucktoberfest, our ops plan and staffing is already completed. That'll be taking place October 3rd and 4th. Biketoberfest and BCU Homecoming will be October 16th through the 19th, and Homecoming, obviously, the 24th and the 25th. And we're almost finalized with our staffing, but our ops plans are already completed. That's all I have for you.
Thank you so much. Any questions?
Ms. Bonner?
No, thank you.
You're very welcome.
None for me either, but thank you for your service.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You're very welcome.
Same
got
here. I really appreciate your service.
I just want to ask a question. Y'all, what is that surveillance? Is that what you, that tall thing that we saw you put up on the intersection? That's the surveillance?
Yes. The purpose of the surveillance trailer is to capture, obviously, video, and it also has LPR capability, which means it'll read license plates and will give a notification to an officer, as long as they're logged in, if there is an issue with that vehicle, be it stolen, be it a missing person, an Alzheimer's subject, even somebody with a warrant. So we'll receive a notification as long as the cameras are set up correctly and we have a good angle, and then the other 2 will capture just surveillance.
I mean, you guys did a remarkable job on that corner. And when
It
I
helps.
passed there a little while ago, it's still clean. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Code compliance.
Mr. Vice Chair, the code compliance officer is not here tonight. I'm going to assume that she did not touch base with me because I'm not sure why she's not here, but she did have code cases all day today.
Okay.
Yep, so she's not here.
Thank you so much.
Looking forward to seeing her.
So she'll have a long list next meeting. So let's move to item 8C, which will be the redevelopment projects. Ms. Michelle Tolliver.
Good evening, Mr. Vice Chair, board members. I'm Michelle Tolliver, the redevelopment project manager for Midtown. My projects this month are kind of short. I wanted to bring you up to date that the Midtown Sundays, which is the second Sunday of each month, will continue. After September, we're supposed to end September. We're just going to go a few months through the year. The next one is September 14th, but we're going to extend it to October, November, and December.
Okay.
So the second Sunday of each month will go throughout the rest of the year. And hopefully they will update the sign after this week, because September 14th is the last one up on the little banner over at Cypress Street Park. Homes Bring Hope. I think most of you have noticed, if you haven't drove along George Ingram by Child's Academy, there are 6 homes that they are finishing up, and they have a home warming on the 16th, next Tuesday, from 4 to 5:30. So 6 new homes for 6 new homeowners.
Fantastic.
And for us, it's news, but for the community, it is not in Midtown. That particular part of Fulton is not Midtown, but it's so close, might as well.
Claim
Yeah.
inspired by Midtown.
That's right, that's right. But no other items to bring to your attention.
Can we talk about the, I think it's a home on a site on Keith Street and one on MLB going east towards Nova. What is that going up?
On the corner of Keach and Ken, where, near Buddy Young's house, old house.
That's
Yeah.
is that, and that's a church also going up too, I would
It
assume.
is. The church is being rebuilt. But the home that you're referring to on that corner of Keach and Ken is through our neighborhood services part. We're redevelopment. Neighborhood
Right.
services is the CDBG home and SHIP. They tore the house down and they're rebuilding it. And the homeowner will, the homeowner will not have a mortgage. Because
No,
I'm thinking
no.
she didn't have a mortgage before it went down. She will not have a mortgage, but she'll have conditions where she has to live in the home for so many years because of the amount of money it's costing to rebuild it. But she's basically getting a brand new home. And that's under Ken's direction. That's the neighborhood services part of our department.
I think that's great.
Yep. And the other home is over on Marion Street. It's in between Cedar and South Street. I'm talking to the one who's on that side of town, that's why. But she knows Keith. I can't think of Keith's last name. Keith Thomas. Keith Thomas. But he's another resident who had a home that was in bad shape, and it's a second home. It's a third one too on North Street. I think the third one is on North Street.
Yes, but we haven't started on that one yet. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Now you said another one.
I think it's Bellevue.
MMB. You say MMB?
It was something on MMB, but I thought maybe it was the key. Maybe I'm mixed up a little bit, but I was riding on Bellevue.
Oh, there is one on MMB.
Okay.
It's right north of Caroline Street.
Right.
I can't think
Next
of
to the
Daryl
old church.
Lucas. Yep, Daryl Lucas is the contractor on that. That's a privately owned builder. They own the land, and now they're building a single-family home there.
Okay.
Yeah, with no help from the city. They're doing it all on their own.
That's great.
Yeah, yeah. But you're right, there is one on the MMB. Yep.
I think that's awesome.
Yes, sir.
And-
Any questions?
No.
And Michelle, the city manager asked Michelle to erect a fence around Joe Harris
Yes,
Park.
yes, yes, yes.
Great.
So
And that was part of his initial meetings with the new president up at Bethune-Cookman. They're just looking at ways to improve the neighborhood around the campus, and we were able to find funds to fully fund the fence. And it's gonna be basically the same type of fence at Daisy Stocking Park. So it's gonna hopefully look better, and they'll behave better in the park. I know last night we had some initiatives that are going to be rolled out to the students through the student leadership on the campus to try to, keep things at bay. In some instances, there was a car accident. I don't remember when it happened, but people thought that was a student on a high-speed drive, and that had nothing to do with Bethune-Cookman students. But the whole campus is just trying to step up their game in terms of taking care of the community. And putting that fence up that Ken is talking about is one step in that direction to improve the neighborhood.
and it's one of the property too, Michelle, because we could talk about it publicly. It's sitting there. It's an eyesore. MMB, the property that Bob Rand is representing
On Garden Street.
on Garden Street. If you've seen the single-family house and the two-story multifamily in the rear.
I can't think of the last name.
Okay, so-
Henderson.
Yeah,
Henderson.
Yeah.
Henderson's used to.
Yeah.
yeah. So we have they did an appraisal rather, and we have agreed to at least create a contract to try to purchase that property. The broker has said he's been trying to sell it, and you can see when you ride by, grass is high, the sign is down, people are going in and out the building, so it's a bad situation. So, and if you bought that property today, you couldn't necessarily use it the way it was used in the past because of the existing zoning. So as we told the broker, that property is something that we would buy just to clean it up. We're just buying the land, not necessarily going to rehab the structures. We would be buying the land.
So if the city purchases that land, the immediate parcel across the street from it where Old Bethune House was, and then the vacant lot on the corner, are those in play as well?
We would love to get that vacant lot. That's on the north, I guess, west, that's the west side.
Right.
Yeah,
Store.
and where the convenience store is.
Right.
We would love to buy the convenience store.
Don't have a willing seller. Yep, the seller is not willing to sell. Or the owner of the property is not willing to sell right now. Yep, we've
Because
tried.
you know that's been an issue
Oh,
for several police chiefs and on down in the past.
yeah.
So it's a problem. It's a problem property.
Where is that?
Big as Meeks.
Ah.
It went from being a drugstore to a drugstore.
Yeah,
Legal drugs.
yeah. So if we could get that portion cleaned up, it would be.
It would make
It would be.
a hell
It
of
would
a
be. Yeah,
difference.
absolutely. And that's the reason why we agreed to purchase the property at
Yeah.
Green and Dr. Bethune. Is we're trying to clean the area up. Now, let me say this. It's a good thing. It's very timely because our neighborhood services department is preparing to put out a request for proposal for small developers to do duplexes, triplexes, and quadruplex. Only, 2 to 4 units. And so a property like that, it would probably be best to do a quadruplex on that property. So it goes hand in hand. So if we purchase that property, that would be something that we would put out an RFP for someone to build a quadruplex on to make it look nice. We wouldn't bring back a single family house, but we would do some multifamily development. Or we would consider some, commercial development. But right now, what's best for, one of the things that's best for the avenue would be some multifamily development.
Okay. Okay. One other question. I do know, I was talking with the folks the other night, and I guess there's a difference between people's perception of what the strategic plan is for MMB and Midtown as opposed to what they react to. How do we, as a board and as a staff partner, to make sure that we are able to allay some fears and maybe get the right narrative out there? Because, folks have a tendency to hijack narratives from time to time,
Right.
and it becomes truth in other folks' minds. So, what can we do as a board and in partnership with the staff to make sure that the right information is getting out there?
Well, in my opinion, I think you're going to need some talking points. And it almost goes back to what, it was when we were talking about sort of a plan when our former chairman was here, and you mentioned about, having a communication document
Right.
that talks about some activities that we're going to do as an advisory board. So, just even having a pamphlet, just a little pamphlet that you may give out to people from time to time when you go to places and you're saying, hey, here are the advisory board members, here are the things that are priority on our list. It's like a leaflet that you would give someone. Because you're right, there's a lot of discussion about a whole lot of things that are not even truthful. But we're not going to be able to knock all those things down.
Right.
But at least if you had something in your hand that you could give someone while you're at church or while you at meetings like last night, they had a meeting over at the Cherry Center. Just handing those things out, I think, would be helpful. Now, who would do that is the question, and what do we put on this leaflet or this pamphlet to sort of, let people know what we're doing and the purpose of the board and what's available for them too as well.
Yeah.
The grants, that we're here to not just, be an advisory board, but we're here to also get you connected to resources.
Right.
And if I can add to what Mr. Thomas said, some of it is going to take some time because we all know that the times that we have seen things, they have not happened in our neighborhood. And when people hear that y'all gonna do something in our neighborhood, I don't believe that. You ain't never did it before. What makes now so special? There is no specialness about it other than timing. It just happens to be a time when you have people who are here who want to roll up their sleeves and do hard work, because this is not easy. Some of it is just gonna have to take time, and the trust element is, I think, a big part of it.
Yes.
Because even with what we are providing, everything we do is public. And we can continue to come up with other ways to add to what we do public, because we don't do anything without it being a public meeting. Pierre mentioned, and he continues to mention, that information usually comes from meetings. Meetings are important, and what Mr. Thomas is saying is in addition to those meetings, but the more information you get from the source, and I think that's the key. The scuttlebutt and all the other stuff that happens in the atmosphere and in the neighborhoods are gonna always be there. People are always gonna be doubters. They're always gonna say government is out to get them. But just continuing the message of, it's not what we're saying, it's public information that we're providing. We're not doing anything without the commission's approval. So what we're trying to do is gather information and make the best decisions. And sometimes the public does not have all the information. And how do we get that to them? Part of it is coming up with a way to share that with them. And there's always going to be an element of they don't trust government. Government has not done anything for me. Government's not going to do anything for me now. But that trust element is something, hopefully, that over time will get better. But they don't trust that, we're going to show up and we're not going anywhere. We're not going to do something to destroy a neighborhood. We're here to try to help the neighborhood. Miss Richardson herself, she's sitting over there, beautiful, but she has had a lot of dead ends.
Yeah.
And it's not with Ormond or Port Orange, it's with the city that she grew up in. She keeps showing up.
Yes.
She may not always agree, and that's okay, but she keeps showing up. She's not getting her information secondhand. But some of it is time. And like Mr. Thomas mentioned, we can all help by, if in doubt, call them and ask them. If you don't believe what we're telling you and what we're giving you, call them and ask them.
Yeah.
Because they'll pick up the phone and they'll talk with you. Miss Richardson, I don't know how many meetings you've had with people. I don't know how many times you've called, but we answer.
Yes.
We listen. She may not always get the answer she wants, but she don't stop.
And I'm coming back again.
And that's part of what we're doing. We're trying to help. We're getting to the point where what she wants to do is something that is allowed. We're getting there. We haven't crossed the finish line yet because she don't have her business license yet. But that's what she wants.
Yeah.
That's what she mean by she coming back.
Coming back again.
And that's the same with the public. Everybody's not going to be that way. But and like Ken said, we're not going to be able to squash it all. But what we can, we're gonna keep trying.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I do have a couple more things I need to
Absolutely.
report that Michelle is working on. She's got, quite a bit of stuff on her plate. But the Dickerson Center, the Neighborhood Services Department, the Dickerson Center just recently had brand new gym equipment installed in the building. It's really nice. They spent over $100,000 buying gym equipment.
Wow.
And so, of course, the Parks and Rec department, they're just so happy for it. But we offered it and said, hey, what can we do to help? And there's other things that we're doing too to help them as well. The property at Helmy Place and ISB, there's a sort of a used car lot fenced in, and on Helmy Place, Michelle has taken, at the meeting on Wednesday coming up, City Commission meeting, we have a purchase of like 6 different properties in the neighborhood of $1.3 million that we're purchasing to continue with the town center development. So that part that fronts ISB, that is a reality. We got a signed contract. We're taking to commission, and hopefully they're going to approve it. And so we'll own that property that face ISB and Helming. And there's a single family, a vacant lot. There's quite a bit of property that we're going to have when we have a closing on that property. And the next thing, it's pretty well known. Mr. Urban White's property there on Dr. Bethune Boulevard 2, Cassett Store. We've been, sort of pushing off the closing date. We got a closing, I think it's the 15th. No later than the 15th. So we're going to close on the property. This ain't going to commission, but we're going to close on that property on the 15th. And the first thing that's going to be demolished is the Cassett store. Yeah. That had, had the fire, of course. And the single family or two-story house that's behind it. We've already got the demolition. Not what we've offered to. Got quotes to what it's going to cost to demo. So we're just waiting to close. Because we want to clean that property up.
And just to add to what Mr. Thomas just said, when the city purchased that property, it was a total of 6 parcels because of how it's laid out. We have a rendering of how we anticipate building it. We just have, at some point we have to request proposals to come in for developers to do it, but probably at the next meeting, I will have a copy of that because we would have closed by then, and I'll show you that rendering. It really sets the flavor of what we want to do in Midtown. No other drawings that we've done, the Shiloh drawings aren't on this level, and the other drawings that we've done are not on this level. This really knocks it out of the park. So I'll bring that for you all to see. And it shows a mixed use. It shows businesses on the lower level, and it shows apartments above it. And then another separate development along DeSoto shows townhomes.
Wow.
So it takes it to another level. So I'll remember to bring those next month. And it's something we forgetting, but that's okay. We'll talk about it next month because there's a lot going on. There's a whole lot going on.
Okay. Any other questions?
Nope.
Thank you so much. Our presentation on Spotlight on Midtown, Mr. Flowers has contacted Pierre and said that he cannot make it, so we will love to have him at some point. He can bring some food when he comes.
We're gonna put him on the agenda for next month, Mr. Chair.
Okay, that's fair enough. Having moved past that to old business? None. New business? Okay. Public comments?
We have one, John.
Okay. Mr. Lewis?
Peter Lewis, 130 South Franklin Street. I wanted to at least mention to the board that yesterday I was in DeLand and I signed for the property, my house, for the 386 grant. So now they're going to start probably demolishing that in November. And then I'll let you know, keep you abreast of how it goes, and we'll see. Hopefully we'll get some people in Midtown that are going to be working on it, but that was one of the things I wanted to mention. The second thing is, I'd be remiss, Miss Leah, that with the jewelry store on ISB, she stopped by, she was one of the speakers one time. She sent me an email, she said that I should address it, or at least let Miss Tolliver know, and I sent her that, but I did tell her I'd at least talk about it. She sent some video of some pictures about flooding that are in her area. She was concerned about getting concrete that's there, and because she knew I handled the business spotlight, and I had her at the meeting, I told her I would address it upline, so I sent it to Ms. Tolliver, and then I'm mentioning it to the board so you know that that's been mentioned here. The other thing I wanted to mention was the fact that Oh, I always thought that the sign that's in front of Checkers would be a good place to have a big, large picture that says, "This is the new Midtown," with graphic pictures that shows a depiction of what we think Midtown is supposed to be.
Billboard you talking
That
about?
billboard, yes, sir. Yes, sir, right there in that area. If that sign right there, when you're walking there, had that there, had the pictures that said, the new Midtown, they had that, people see it all the time. Or as Mr. Thomas mentioned about those talking points, the signs that are right around that area says what those talking points are. I mean, brochures and stuff like that is good, but I think that sign right there, I figure is a marquee place that's in the area. If they can, I'm not saying buy the sign, money, if they have funds, but whatever those depictions are, how we think Midtown should look, I would think that would be a great place for that. And then the last comment that I wanted to mention, and I will be brief about this one, was I was at the City Commission, I think it was 2 meetings ago. One of the things was mentioned, has been talking about now, sort of in the streets, is the decision that was made about the Campbell Street Hotel. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about it. I talked about how at the commission, I felt like I was kind of in a conundrum. The fact of understanding, respecting the old that was there and honoring what we feel should probably be some new stuff that's in the area. I would like to say the board's decision that I guess the board came, I don't remember the meeting, they talked about tearing it down and reconstructing it, was the right decision. I'm mentioning that because I want that to be on the record, somebody to understand my perspective on it. I think you made the right call on that, and I'll explain why a number of different reasons. I believe that, I don't really want to call it blessings, but the fact that we have the mind of Mr. Thomas and the mind of Ms. Tolliver in this area that are what I call forward-thinking individuals about the area. I think there's a round of applause when I listen to their comments of that, and I'll explain why. The reason being because I feel that sometimes people see our particular areas and they like to set us back, my view, sometimes 20 years ago. They will use sometimes historic monuments and stuff like that, and at some level, not knowing how to blend what I call that symbiotic relationship between what we think is progress. Buildings that are built in other areas, let's put it that way. So a friend of mine told me the new building is being done right there in front of the, by the Popeyes chicken or whatever. The one thing we were talking at the gym, he says, you know what's interesting, that building is it's got retail on the bottom, housing on the top. On the other side of the Burgoyne Village that was sold to Mr. Brown, respectfully, it's the same concept. When you look around different areas that we say that we want them to stop and shop in and want them to stop and shop, that's the concepts that they're having. That wasn't a total concept, but I believe Mr. Thomas alluded to something like that before. And I believe that Ms. Tolliver alluded to that. That's why I say that's the goose that laid the golden egg. At some point in time, we want to respect our historic monuments that are there. But I ask you this. Before that was mentioned, a lot of times when people say to us, what about the African American Trail? That's fine. They're going, that building's been since the 1800s. If you walk around there, and I did, you will look that there are signs there that says First Scotch was here, C.K. Slaughter was here, Doby's was here. However, what they've also done is they say they were here, but now we've got new money. We've got new money that's in the area. We've got new economics that's in the area. And the article, they wrote an article in the Daytona Times, and that was what I was not trying, because I believe you don't try, you do. So that's what I was doing in the article, is saying, listen, Midtown needs capital investments. Midtown needs money. Bottom line, when it gets past that, taxable entities that are there. So the concepts of the ideas that they have to have retail on the bottom and developments of homes on the top is what the new face of Midtown is. Midtown, at some point, you got to break that egg and say, listen, this is 2025, and we want our areas to look like 2025 and beyond. Because the other areas that people spend their capital, they will spend it in the new areas. And actually, ladies and gentlemen that live in Midtown, I see them all over, and they're spending money. They're spending money on, I don't like to ping on people, but on Beach Street, they're spending it in one Daytona, they're spending it in this area, they're spending it at the last meeting they talked about a 5-star hotel. When they talked about that 5-star hotel, people were elated. They were elated by that. Everybody says, I want a piece of that. Even the culinary from Bethune-Cookman came to talk about that. I would love to see that same excitement when new places are being built in Midtown. And I believe that with the mind that's right there, that gentleman right there, And that lady right there, if you keep going on this project, now nobody wants a parking lot, we know that. But if we can have that driving force behind them, then I think we need to have some new stuff. You get past of all the rhetoric and all of that, the jargon I can spit out, that's for sure. But the bottom line is we need new stuff. And we need new stuff that's gonna bring in some money. I want people to shop in Midtown. I want people to spend money in Midtown. I don't want them to drive through it. And the only way that they can stop in Midtown is we have to have that type of commercial development that says, guess what? I don't have to go all the way, nothing against one Daytona. I don't have to go to this place. I can buy it right here in Midtown. And I believe that only our limiting beliefs stops us from thinking that. And we have to not stop thinking that way, not thinking that way, and not let other people stifle us. Because that's what I think what happens is people want to box us and say that, yeah, it's your history. I got it. But I want to talk about our future. Am I passionate about that? Of course I am. I'm an IT guy. I love digital progress. And I think we got the right people for the job. That's my point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
John Nicholson.
That's the public.
John Nicholson, Daytona Beach side. I wasn't going to talk about the Campbell. Initially, I wanted to save Campbell, all right? Walked around it, walked through it, looked at the history. Yes, it had a nice nightclub there, but that nightclub wouldn't survive today. You need volume, and you can't run a nightclub with 5 or 10 people. The building is just too small. If you go over to any other location, they're massive. A gentleman just opened a place on Nova. It's, 30 times the size of it. So it's not going to survive. The number of rooms upstairs are not enough. When they were talking about hotels on the beach side, all right? And Ruby wants to keep it 1 and 2 stories. Well, nobody's going to spend $3 million for a property and put 16 units on it.
Yeah.
That Campbell, I'm sorry, but it was old and it was small. It wouldn't survive. So I know it's nice to keep it there and be historic, but who's going to pay for it? It has to pay taxes. It has to electric, water, gas, upkeep, and it wouldn't survive. So the wiser thing to do is, and you like 3-story, I like 4-story. Most of the cities around town, anywhere, they're building 4 stories. The ground floor is commercial. You need volume, you need bodies to buy. What's happened is people moved out. Those few stores that you have left, they don't have enough people walking in their front door to make it viable for them. You need to put more bodies back into town, which is what the first thing I have on my list, all right? We have a housing authority, all right? They have 2 projects. I don't know if you remember Hope 6, all right? Cypress Park, half of it was built in apartments, 52 lots for homes. Now, they've been sitting on it now, 20 years?
Yes.
All right? They keep saying, oh, it's because of the Eagle.
Eagles.
Well, guess what? They only need to not build for 6 months. They get 6 months to build when the Eagle's not there, and they've never built. About 2 blocks away, there's another area already platted, already has the electric, the water, the gas, everything is there, and it's been sitting there for 20 years. They own property that used to be the old black junior college, right? They own it. What have they built there? They just purchased next to Derbyshire Park, 6 or 7 acres, all right? When are they going to build, all right? I'm sorry, we have the land. Why aren't they building? Do you understand what I mean? There is a need for it. I'm sorry. If they build affordable housing, the mayor keeps saying he's pushing affordable housing. Affordable housing is not beneficial to Midtown if you build it in Margaritaville, if you build it in Titusville, if you build it in Jacksonville. It's needed in Midtown, all right? One, which is my third thing, is we're going to rezone next week, all right? Now, when Charles Cherry rezoned in the 2000, he thought he was going to be cute to get a third black on the city commission. So he divided Midtown, which is historically a community, all right? And the law says you have to keep the community together. Well, Charles divided it. So now Midtown is divided into 4 zones, which dilutes Midtown.
Dilutes the vote.
And what happens is, when they do this rezoning, the next election, you will have no black commissioners on the city commission.
That's right.
Because what happens is, when they took 2,000 blacks to put them in Ken's zone, that dilutes Midtown. And they took 2,000 and put it in zone 2, 2,000 put it in zone 3. They put zone 5 at 52% black, all right? Well, guess what? Charles Cherry never thought that Margaritaville was going in. Never dreamed that all that development, Tuscany Woods, Tuscany this, Tuscany that, were going in. That's in zone 5. Now, Danette is confident that all those are black areas. Margaritaville is not black. I'm sorry.
By no means.
The mayor had a nexus study done. And the nexus study said Margaritaville was 70% black.
No, it's not.
All you have to do is go there, and it's not. So they're confident when this zoning goes that they will have black zones. And I'm sorry, when you get to be 60, 70% white, it's no longer a black zone. And so what's going to happen is Paula's zone went west. They're going to, in the thing, she'll be the only one with a dominant, if they go with the thing, 51% black, okay? But all those apartments behind the mall, all apartments with Daytona 1, those are not black neighborhoods. So she will end up with a predominantly white, traditionally 5 and 6 have been black. If you fill them full of whites, they're not going to be black anymore. And if you divide our traditionally black neighborhood 4 different ways, you know darn well the chances are great.
That's right.
They're not going to have a representative. So I'm just alerting you to the fact they're sitting there saying, oh yeah, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. But I'm telling you, Margaritaville is not black. The apartments that have it around, what is it called, Tangier Outlet Mall, they're white.
Exactly.
And if you put because they're putting all of those Tangier Outlet Mall apartments, there must be like 10 of them, in Danette's zone. So her zone, if it's starting at 48, is not going to be close to being 48. Because what they're doing is they're not counting anybody that's moved into the city since 2020. That's 25,000 people that live out in that area are predominantly white. They're retirees, all right? We are, and I'm sorry to say it, but it sounds racist, but Midtown has traditionally been black, and it really should have a black leader. If you have 90% black people living in this rectangular, and I'm told that you can't say this, but everybody knows Shady Place is the southern limit. Railroad tracks to Nova to Mason. It's a rectangle. It's 11,000 black people in that rectangle. Why shouldn't they have a black commissioner?
Exactly.
It makes sense to me. So Charles Cherry divided it up into 4, and now we can't undivide it. We have to keep it divided, which doesn't make sense to me. The city keeps saying, oh, we can't change the neighborhood the way it's zoned because people won't understand the new zoning. Well, it was zone 6 for, I don't know how many years. It was there, zone 6 before I got here. And it was changed in the year 2000. We can change it back and make it a black zone. Because to have no black commissioners on the zone, I don't know about, I know you guys feel it because you're black, but it just doesn't make sense in the long run. It'll only cause, I don't know, less trust in the government if they have no representation whatsoever on the city commission. I just want to let you all be aware of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item 12, board comments.
I have none really, other than it's been very informative, even though we're limited in numbers. The information that has been provided and conveyed has been a lot. So I'm appreciative of that, and thank you for those who provided that, and the staff, of course, and the other board members. Thank you.
Ms. Richardson?
Very informational. Thank you, Mr. Pierre. Very informational. Thank you, Mr. John. Thank you. That is food for
yeah.
thought, because irregardless of anything, we have to have representation of who we are. So that is definitely a question and a conversation to have, to make sure that we do have representation when we are voting, when we are making decisions, because we need somebody that is going to, not saying that they would not care, but we need somebody that knows the struggles of what we have. So that's my take on that, but it has been a wonderful meeting.
Ditto. Very informative. I enjoyed it, even though we didn't have a huge crowd, but Mr. Public is always present. A great deal of information was transferred to us this evening, and I truly appreciate it.
Amen. I concur, and I would like to thank the staff for bringing us up to speed on exactly what's going on in Midtown. It'd be so great to see, ground being moved and buildings coming up, and the perspective and the perception and the passion of Midtown coming back to life again. So I want to thank both of you for that. Is there any, I did want to ask the staff, is there any problem or anything prohibiting us from considering one of the ideas that Pierre brought forth, and that was like even the billboard, or taking advantage of maybe some other channels that we have to say, here, this is what Midtown is going to be looking like, and get ready for it. I think that may be a great idea.
Excellent idea.
Okay. All right. Well, that about does it. Meeting recap's going to be sent to us in the. Well, we can do minutes, right? Or highlights. No action items because we didn't have a quorum. So, all minds and hearts are clear on what we heard and did today.
Yes.
Great. Let's go home.
All right.
All right. Thank you.